Welcome to the Do Good X podcast, a sanctuary from the entrepreneurial grind. Hosts Kimberly Danielle and Stephen Lewis, advocates for impactful entrepreneurship, guide you on the path where purpose meets business. Join us to slow down, reconnect, and explore the challenges of under-resourced entrepreneurs, uncovering the unique journey of building businesses that make a difference. Now, your host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Do Good X podcast. My name is Kimberly Danielle and I am a community builder, a coach, and a communication strategist who comes from generations of faith-driven leaders and entrepreneurs who believe that our purpose should drive us to consistently contribute to the common good. And as always, I am here with my co-host, Stephen. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Kimberly, it's good to be with you. As you know, I am a catalyst for positive change in communities and businesses. And for over 2 decades, I have inspired leaders and entrepreneurs to live and to work on purpose with intention, faith, and a commitment to the well-being. So today, we're taking it back to another episode from season 1. We had an opportunity to chat with Carla and Jeremy Vincent, the powerhouse couple from Globekin. Now, they open up about their journey of building a business together while also nurturing a marriage and their impact on families through education. And this is particularly important because so many of us are building businesses with life partners. And so it's an opportunity to learn from these two entrepreneurs what they have been up to and how they navigate the business relationship as well as with their personal relationship and how they build a business in marriage and stay happy and whole together.
Yeah, this was a really great conversation.
Yeah,
it's an episode that's a beautiful reminder of how partnership and purpose can come together in powerful ways. And Carla and Jeremy, they keep it real from talking about their early challenges and their resourcefulness to the importance of play and communication and community along the journey. And not only do they talk about their partnership and how that's at play with their business and how they run their business, but they also provide some really insightful tips and tools for starting a business in the early stages, especially as tech founders. And so if you have ever wondered how to navigate life, partnership, and making an impact while pursuing or chasing your entrepreneurial dreams, and you're also a tech founder or aspire to be, this episode is one you might want to tune into and to the full extent of the episode. But I hope that you gain something, some type of insight that helps you along your journey by tuning into this one.
Yeah, so we hope this episode gives you something to carry you further in your journey. So let's jump in.
This is the first episode in our entire season so far that we actually have 2 guests joining us, and not just 2 guests joining us, but 2 guests who are in business together and personally in life together. So we are excited to have Carla and Jeremy Vincent join us today. They are the co-founders of Globekin, an innovative e-learning platform dedicated to transforming how children learn outside of the classroom. Jeremy and Carla both are deeply passionate about the power of out-of-school learning to shape young minds, regardless of cultural background or socioeconomic status. Carla, the platform's chief design officer, brings a lifelong love of creativity and a personal journey of overcoming learning differences. She's on a mission to design learning experiences that cater to each child's unique style, breaking away from the one-size-fits-all approach of traditional education that we often see. Jeremy, Globekin's CEO, grew up on the island of Grenada, where his curiosity for the world blossomed. With a vision fueled by advancement in digital technology and AI, he is committed to fostering holistic development to young learners by tapping into their diverse strengths. When they are not busy, innovating education and leading their business. Carla enjoys creating art, exploring new trails. We have that in common, Carla. And Jeremy finds balance through yoga, meditation, and cooking up new recipes. And together, they're reimagining the future of learning for children everywhere. And we are delighted to have both of you join us today and to get more into your story and more about Globekin. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having us. This is a really nice introduction. And, you know, it's a first time for everything. Just saying that. So we're happy to be here as co-founders, husband and wife duo, to share more about the company we're building. But also thank you guys for giving us the space and opportunity to share our story, to share our why, to share our purpose in terms of what we're doing and building. So thank you guys so much for this opportunity.
Well, just starting out, I would love to hear from one of you. What inspired you all to create an e-learning platform focused on out-of-school learning? And how does your mission particularly address the gaps in traditional education?
You know, it's been a journey for us as co-founders building this company. And one of the things that we realized for us is that out-of-school learning has had a huge role and impact on our lives. For me specifically, growing up with entrepreneurial parents, that basically gave me a firsthand look of what it takes to build something from the ground up, but was also the spark for me to want to aspire and build something one day, want to aspire and want to have my own entrepreneurial dreams one day. So later on in life, when I started working in my career, which is finance and accounting, Carla and I started dating. And we often had a lot of conversations around building a company that we felt like could make an impact, that we felt like could improve the lives of people, you know, on this planet, essentially, right? And when we look around, there are so much disparities that you can see. Obviously, disparities and inequalities, whether it's wealth inequality, you know, access and opportunity. We felt like education, because it's something that we deeply valued, was the path for us. So we began exploring basically how we can use digital technology to help bridge some of those gaps in traditional education. But Carla has some part of doing that. She can kind of share more from her perspective.
Yeah, I would have to say for me, out-of-school learning was a key aspect of my overall growth as an individual and also as a creative leader. And I know that we mentioned in the intro, but I do have a learning difference, and I was diagnosed at the age of 7. And around that same time, I also discovered my talent for art. And fortunately, my parents had the means to be able to support me in my out-of-school activities, whether it be tutoring to help with my dyslexia or art camps to nurture my talent. And these experiences really built my confidence, which ultimately led me to go to art school, then into a career in advertising, eventually becoming a creative director. So when Jeremy came to me with the idea of building an e-learning product, I really realized that I had all the tools and experience to be able to make that happen. And while we were fortunate enough to have these opportunities, like Jeremy mentioned, we know that millions of kids don't have access to quality out-of-school learning, which ultimately is essential for their academic and social growth. And that's why we're so passionate about creating an e-learning platform that really makes out-of-school learning accessible and meaningful for all children.
So, you know, I would like to know, how did you all validate your idea for Globekin in the early stages? And what feedback or insight shaped the direction of the development of your platform?
So in the earliest phases, we started doing customer discoveries with basically parents and educators. So we did a bunch of different customer discoveries with parents and educators. And through these conversations, one of the things that we quickly realized was that the children who were being left behind often had low engagement in out-of-school activities due to various constraints. And when we were doing these interviews, on one hand, educators felt like it was up to the parents to take more ownership and responsibility to provide their child enrichment activities. And then on the other hand, parents will expect educators to provide more resources and guidance. So for us, we saw that there was a clear gap. And as we dug deeper into the numbers, one of the things that we realized that the barriers to access were associated with availability, high cost, but also travel constraints for these out-of-school activities. And then we also discovered that for every one child enrolled in an after-school program, there are currently 3 on the waiting list, showing that there's a clear demand from parents for these activities. And in addition, in today's world with, the digital landscape that we're living in, children are spending over 4 hours a day on screens. But when we dig deeper into those numbers to see how much time is dedicated to e-learning platforms, only 3% of that time was dedicated to those type of platforms. So we saw that there's a glaring gap based on these insights and feedback that out-of-school learning needed to evolve, showing us that if we were to be more, could create an e-learning platform that provided like intentional content as well as curated activities, we can help to supplement children's developmental needs like outside of the classroom.
What keeps you motivated during difficult times of figuring all this out?
Yeah, I think that's a really heavy question for us. I think what keeps us motivated is always trying to connect back to our why, right? And for us, that's basically tied to our stories, but also the sacrifices that our families have made. In addition to that, also the sacrifices that our ancestors or those who came before us has made to create better opportunity for us today. So we do reflect on those things a lot, and we do reflect on their journeys a lot to put us in position in the environment that we're in today, with all that's afforded to us, with all the opportunity that's at our tables. And that keeps us going, keeps pushing us forward so we can hopefully create a better impact and better opportunities for those in the future.
I think that's really important. This whole idea of connecting to your why. Kimberly and I, we talk a lot about that, particularly as it relates to your own resilience and knowing why each day, why you get up and do what you do. And also, I think, as I listen to you, this importance of like you stand on the shoulders of those who come before you, and the sacrifices that they have made to put you in a position where you can hopefully do likewise for future generations to come.
I do want to ask, since, this is our first time having 2 guests, specifically a guest who is partner in life and in business. I'm curious to hear just briefly from both of you, how have you found ways to maintain a healthy marriage while also being business partners?
I think Carly might be able to give a better answer to this question.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Well, first of all, I love this question. I think it's a great one. It also was a challenge for me, especially at the beginning, and wanting to, keep structure.
Keep business and pleasure separate.
Exactly. I would say when it comes to balancing a healthy marriage while also being business partners, it really boils down to 3 things: self-care, communication, and play. For me, taking care of myself ultimately is key. I found over the years, you can keep pouring out and building externally, but at the end of the day, you really have to take the time to tap into your mental health, your emotional and physical, so that you can really be able to show up in the best way for yourself, but also in our case for my partner in crime. Things like exercise, journaling, and even taking time for a relaxing bath just to help me recharge really can help me be there for both of us. And in our relationship in the end. Second, I would have to say, communication. We had to learn how to communicate better, especially when we're both have strong perspectives, to say the least. But we found that when we take a step back, really listen to each other, things move a whole lot smoother. It's all about respecting each other's space and working together to really be able to strengthen what we bring to the table.
Yeah. And I would say, just to add communication for us, sometimes you tend to want to listen to respond a lot of the times. And we've realized for us to be able to work well together is listen to really hear where the other person is coming from, and putting ourselves in their shoes, essentially. So that has helped us to, take our egos away, in particular myself, and remove my ego from the situation so I can hear where she's coming from and respecting her opinion and values, because there's something that uniquely she has that I don't have, right? As co-founders.
Kudos to you all for learning how to navigate well your relationship as well as building a business together. How can underrepresented entrepreneurs effectively build a supportive network for the journey ahead?
One of the best ways underrepresented entrepreneurs can build a supportive network is really by tapping into your existing communities and also seeking out mentors. What's the worst that could happen? They say no, and then you move on. But at the end of the day, you will find your people, you will find your group. And there are so many organizations and groups designed to support minority founders, whether through networking events, accelerators, industry-specific forums. At the end of the day, mentorship is key. So finding someone who has been through similar challenges can really be able to provide guidance and often open doors you might not even know exist. And also it's important to remember that your network doesn't have to be limited by geography. We live in the digital age where connection and communication is at our fingertips. We saw that really come to life, especially during COVID. So connect with people who you can still resonate with, who may not be within your state, who may be across country or across the globe, especially when you're rooted in like minds at the end of the day.
I was going to just add a couple of things. I think getting out of your comfort zone and actually putting yourself out there is a big part of finding your community and finding support. Because if you're working in a vacuum or working in silo, you're shooting yourself in the leg to some degree, right? And so you have to be vulnerable by putting yourself out there to make connections and finding and establishing that community. And, you'll realize that there's so much people out there who's willing to support you. Kimberly obviously has been supporting us in beautiful ways. And then you're also realizing that there's so much that you don't know. By having a network in the community, you can start filling a lot of the blind spots that you might have, because there's guidance or there's advice, there's experience that people have been through that they can share with you to make sure that you can take in the best feedback so you can move forward in the best way.
Well, these are all wonderful resources that the two of you have provided that I hope that our listeners will taking notes and will attend to as they think about their own entrepreneurial journey. And for those of you who are listening in, do you desire a connection and a supportive community? Visit Do Good X and join our community and access resources, tools, and advice from fellow entrepreneurs and change makers. And if you want to help us spread the word, leave us a rating or review on this podcast and share this episode with an entrepreneur who could use some inspiration.
We appreciate you all tuning in. I always appreciate chatting with you, Stephen. And
likewise.
Until we join again on the next episode, be well and do good.
Thank you for listening to the Do Good X podcast. To continue the conversation or access our resources, visit www.dogoodx.org. Join us again for conversations that will nourish your soul, ignite your dreams, and empower you to build an impactful business, one intentional step at a time. Until then, keep striving, thriving, and doing good.